All right, here we are. Tell us a little bit about. My first question is, let's say, what is the value of archaeological excavations for, in general, and specifically for Judaic studies or biblical studies?
In general, of course, archaeology is important to me. I've been doing it for 30 years, all over the state of Israel. But basically, it's exploring the ancient world. It's showing you the heritage. It's giving you the culture, the settings, where you came from. So it offers a lot to the general public in relationship to understanding the actually even situations of where we are today. So it's a very broad area, but at the same time it can be specific to one culture, one ethnic group. So it offers a lot of ideas of where we came from and where we're going. So very significant. Specifically, of course, I'm in the area of biblical studies and archaeology of Old Testament at New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary. So for me, biblically, it explains, illuminates, it helps us understand and comprehend the biblical text. So it puts a picture with the text. It draws a illustration. It draws a nice total, if you will. It fills in the gaps of what the Bible sometimes doesn't tell you. So you're actually handling the physical remains, the material culture. You see the walls. For example, like Joshua came into the land of Israel, and he says they sent the spies in. The spies came back and said there were giants in the land, and the cities were too well fortified.
Oh, you mean Moses?
Yeah, Moses.
Yeah,
well, Joshua
Moses
was part of it. He came in.
He was one of the
12 spies. And so what does that word fortified mean? Well, I've excavated two major fortifications, one at Ashkelon and one at Tel Gezer. And they're huge earthen ramparts. The one at Ashkelon was over 125 feet tall. The one at Gezer over 100 feet tall, sloping with massive earthenworks, and they were all plastered white, and walls on top of that. So fortification, when you read that word, you're thinking of maybe a nice little wall, but these are massive structures during the time of Moses and Joshua. So that's just one illustration of what archaeology can do for you.
So I think you pretty much answered the second question. It's like, what are the contributions of this site to our general understanding about the Philistines in biblical times?
Well, this one,
yeah,
Tel Gath has been proven itself to be a gold mine of cultural elements that we've read about and people have talked about, but now you actually get to pick them up and handle them in your hands. You get to see the ceramics, you get to see the houses, you get to see the fortifications. So that just gives you a unique picture of who these Philistines were, what their expertise was, what their ideas was, their ideology. So just really opens and explores a whole lot more than just reading the word Philistine. Now you've got a whole set of objects and material remains that you can now associate with.
So what can a teacher do differently in the classroom when teaching about either the biblical story or the Philistines based on what we've found here?
Well, one of the things is what I'm really always emphasize is a picture. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, why aren't teachers using more illustrations? So anything that you can illustrate with the biblical text so they can get a visual image, they'll never forget the visual image. They'll forget our words, but the image will stay there. So if you can show them the walls, you can show them the pottery, you can show them the temples, wow. But the other key thing, is what I'm also doing, is reconstructing them so that we can eventually make a visual encyclopedia of the ancient world. And I'm working, we're doing that with Tel Gezer. I would like to do it with all the sites. We've already done it with Jerusalem and a couple of other projects, so that a student can actually walk inside, see the walls.
And a virtual...
My company is called the Virtual Bible Project, yeah. I've already launched several different programs with a company called Logos Bible Software, and I've just finished the Solomonic Temple, and now I'm working on Gezer, and I've got a ton of projects coming up that eventually a person can just go to the web, download the program.
We're so excited to see this.
Yeah.
And I'll be putting in the description of the YouTube. I'll be looking that up. I'll be putting in the links.
I will get your email. Excellent. And I will send you. I'll send you some copies.
And one final message. A message to tell teachers and students why they should come here, or why they shouldn't be involved in general and come see an excavation.
Cities are never located because it's a nice place to live. In the Bible, there are over 2,000 cities mentioned. All of them, when the people built the cities, they knew why they built the cities, where they were located, what the significance was. We just read Gath, but if you don't see where it connects with the international trade route, which is right out in front of their door. Same thing at Gaza, where I am. All these cities were located because they were near trade routes, they were obviously near water, but they had to have farming, land for farming and defensive. And so once you get the visual picture, everybody thinks Israel is nothing but a desert, nothing but a bunch of rocks. But then when you come here and you start looking at the sites, you say, oh wow, now that makes sense. Then you go back to the biblical text and you can read about Gezer, Megiddo, all those places, and make a connection. So the land is what we call the fifth gospel. So you can have the text, you can have the artifacts, but the geography, that's what makes it come alive. So I would encourage everybody, get over here on one kind of trip. Specifically, if you're going to teach biblical studies. It's a must. It's just you're losing 1/3 of the context. So very important, very important.
All right. Thank you very much, Dan.
You bet. My pleasure.